All right, we back in the business. I don't know what happened there. Like my stream just like randomly stopped. And yeah, but we back now. Yeah. Thankfully, thankfully I didn't skip too far and not notice that the stream had stopped. But yeah, let's continue. Um, if that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Scott will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. This is the first time she's ever done something like this. Lena's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of that trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your own chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. It's time for the climax. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth his opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Yeah, look at this guy, man. He looks like you can't trust him. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, I guess that's Judgy. Been back to the pool yet? This man really likes the pool, I see. No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I could top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No! Lana! You can't. Your Honor, the defendant claims does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your service. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. My boy Edgeworth, let's go. Come now, Wordy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, No. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Wordy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Sky. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Sky. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. My man Edgeworth speaking God's tongue. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. Okay, that's okay with you, right, Chief Grant? Wordy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my word. Miss Emma Sky, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skies. My occupation? I'm Lena's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator. Oh boy. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killing. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that though. I'm sorry. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edward, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave him fat. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you aren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder. That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in, took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dart. He was a serial killer. Joe Dart was brought in for questioning on the day of the ceremony. He was desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Doc proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because that elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gad's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there was 2 people present during Doc's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to questioning room after ceremony. He went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. Oh boy, I had hiccups. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. I guess hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Ah. This is it, right? She drew it on the evidence. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture, and yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list of the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Ah, what's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? So it appears, Mr. Edward, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the mark here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened 2 years ago. Only half of the evidence in that case has ever reached you. What? What? Order, order. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let me see. So nobody ever thought to look behind the paper? There's something wrong. Do you have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Is that thing? What the? That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this is an act of vandalism in this work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Okay. Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Hold on. I want to actually look at this now. Wait, something is falling on top of the head? Huh. This is odd. It's very odd. Was that like a chandelier? Huh. It's weird. Okay, this is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think, a flash of lightning could have burned such an image to your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may begin its cross-examination. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see was shadows. So, at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and then when the lightning flashed... Alright, hold on. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flash? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. There's a contradiction here? There's a contradiction here? Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course. Oh shit. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detective? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Oh, well, that's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet it's clearly a contradiction. There's a contradiction here? I'm not too sure. I don't think did I even look at this? I don't think so. Neil Marshall, time of death, February 19th, between 7 p.m. and 7:30. A single stab wound pierced heart. Died from blood loss under 10 minutes. Weapon found in wound was missing tip. Wait, what? Weapon found in wound was missing tip. What am I missing? I think I know. Okay, I think I know what it is. Let me save it just to be on the safe side though. I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure if it's actually right. I think if my hunch is right, I think the contradiction is the way. Oh man. See, but I'm not sure though. I think it might be the weapon because I mean look at that weapon, like it don't look like a weapon when you look at it. Like if you're gonna draw a knife, you're gonna draw something pointy. I think, okay. Okay. Fuck, I pressed the wrong button. If I'm not mistaken, it's either the autopsy report or it's the knife. Well, the SL knife. Oh, thank God. Okay, because that shit had me stumped for a second. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit trying to tell me? Okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew, it contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of the picture contradicts the autopsy report? I'm pretty sure it's the knife. Take that! The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. You now don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See, the murder weapon, its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dog was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obviously really the victim's suffering a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't have possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does that mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. You know what I think? I think the tip of that knife was probably forged evidence. The only possible explanation is the witness' memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. But she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain the inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edward. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. I just said that too. You can't deny the possibility. No. I just said that piece, the tip of that knife probably was forged evidence. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. Now that I kind of look at it, no way, nah, no cap. What if the actual weapon was the halberd of that prosecutor shit? Bro, that'd be big brain if it was. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gann. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. That man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken... Yo, if it's actually the freaking halberd piece, I'ma lose my shit. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife beside Joe Dark. Could there have been one? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright, in that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Yo, that's crazy. If this is actually it, that's fucking nuts. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from Miss Award. Order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he must not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, Why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the king of prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, the man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh shit, I never thought about that. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? This list? This one with the picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Will you please tell us what you recall, Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. Interesting. Yeah, I was just about to say, like, wait, wasn't the blue badger kind of recent? That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin this. Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further. Nana. What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. You've already come this far? It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards a courtroom. When you saw that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark. Yes, at least I think it was him. You think. All I could really see were shadows. A power outage that immediately preceded the incident. It's also documented in the prosecutor's office report. So then I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But, as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time, When that dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've gotta help that other person. I think I knocked away that man with the knife. What did you mean, you think? It all happened so fast and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. The Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. The Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Just then was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. So she saw the blue badger. It's odd. What did she see? Are you sure about this? Of course. See, I even drew a picture of him. But it was the chief of detectives who thought of this hideous beast. Jesus. And that was just this year. Oh. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I had seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. No, brother, just when you thought that things had caused enough commotions. Tell us, where in the courtroom did you see him dancing? Where in the room did you see him dancing? He was in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with it winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. I'm trying to think. Cause this thing, they said, okay, so this didn't exist 2 years ago. Okay, so this is out of the question. So what is it that she could have saw? What do I have in here? Bro, ain't no way. Wait, she said she saw 3 horns, right? Ah, bro, I'm sorry, man. This game is so 9,000 IQ, bro. This game is so 9,000 IQ, bro. I'm telling you. She most likely, this is probably what she saw fall. That's the only thing that makes sense. The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt of when Emma drew this picture. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on a fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright, in this room. Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger lookalike. Let me save because... Oh, damn, I can't even save. Shit. But you know what? I do think it's this. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I gotta show them. Oh. Actually... They are... Now I get it. I get it now. See, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense now. Allow me to remind the defense in this case hinges on the witness drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept this claim. I mean, I think I got the right angle. I think this should be good. Does it have to be like really specific? This is it, right? Damn. How do I gotta position it? Like, this shit kinda hard. Okay, so it's the jar. It's just I have to put it in the position for it to look like it, which is hard apparently. Is this good? I don't even know. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar resembles to the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. This mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So the badger thing was actually just a jar? That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed? Very well then, please tell us. What difference now that we know the witness saw this jar? I guess that's supposed to be what difference now? So, if that's the case, maybe the murder? I don't know. Murder weapon? I actually don't know. Oh! Because, okay. It didn't take place. This took place on Gant's side. Okay. It just, you know, popped in my head. It just hit me. Allow me to take these in turn. At that moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have been? Well, yes, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lena Sky's death. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is those two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lena Sky's office. It happened on the other side, It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lena Sky? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lena tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness. She says she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may redraw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, the suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Wait, yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil. Oh no! You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Oh nah. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life. Nah, bro, nah. There gotta be more to that. And then prove so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Wait, what are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Scott, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe an insane allegation, I'm afraid you're gonna have to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proved my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. What? Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? Well, bro, I don't fucking know. I've got to think back to the court records. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. Does something like that even fucking exist? Oh no. Oh no. Oh. I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop letting nothing prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us a piece of evidence that conveys the message from the deceased. Oh boy, I think it's this. Cause if there's one thing, this blood is still a mystery. This blood stain, and it was hidden here for a reason. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before? Oh, is he gonna just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, if you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message, one that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect those points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. I gotta connect these dots to make letters. Oh shit. Oh. No way. No fucking way, bro. Are you serious? Oh, nah. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. There has to be more to this, bro. Nah, I don't believe this girl did it. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skies. See, Wordy? Can't say I didn't warn you. Nah, this guy is a snake, bro. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Reddy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to assure his conviction. Nah, this man is a demon. But Joe Dark really was a serial murder. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even there wasn't any covering up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Nah, bro, this man is definitely a demon, bro. He's a demon. What's going on? Order. Nah, bro. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf's ear. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declares a recess. Where this child is headed, no one knows. Yo, this case is OD, bro. And this case is long as shit. God damn. So this has to be the climax, man. All right, man. Let's get into it. February 25th. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Yo, dick. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making the detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Yo, talk about deja vu. You said this already. I take Atlanta and having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here. She asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence alone. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. Okay. And the chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him... Oh... If you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Really? So there is more to this shit. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough reading. There is more to this shit. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where your own detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in the prosecutor's seat? Despite all those allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been but ruined with this forged evidence. you were unaware of. And the sky found out she unwittingly caused the man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Lynn. She merely struck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring an end to it. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor? The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your action. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there's some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witness. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this isn't an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witness. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. It's time to bring out the raid boss.
Take that!
Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As a defense partner 2 years ago, as the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Hold on. Okay. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name's Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh? You mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you play in all of this. Son, either you're very brave, or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse testifying. He has the right to refuse to testify. It just goes to show the police got way too much power, bro. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risk. Oh, don't worry. I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lena there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Interesting. Him? He was lying on the floor unconsciously. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seemed Dark bumped his head. Let's see. Everything seems pretty clear cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. I already know what to present to him. This is clear he's lying because of this shit right here. He said the jar because, well, it could be this too, but the jar for, like, why was this hiding in your safe? You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That blue badger you showed us earlier? A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Wordy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in a forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Ah, yeah, but this nigga is a master at gaslighting, I see. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Wordy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying the work. Yeah, so in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence you found in your office. Ooh, the sneeze. and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Oh boy. Let's see. What was it now? A jar fragment in a list? For all I know, you could have planted those in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after dark, was convinced, then they're worthless. There's no reason I participated in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh, indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Oh, right, Judgy. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? Are these guys telepathics? Okay. I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? You have no proof to the contrary. You're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Wright prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they will prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Yo, for real, this guy is mad slimy, bro. Dude is slimy as shit. Anyway, we can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after dark was convinced, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after dark was sent. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on, come now, Rado. Think about it. There's no reason I participated in a forgery. How can you look me in the eyes and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Sky. Well, now, do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant, at the very least, there is one large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would be, of course, that would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh? The resolution of the SR9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without the case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Wordy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Judgy, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lena's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Wordy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone else? Yeah, actually he would. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. I wouldn't say he's a nice man. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Lena. Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lena Sky? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious. In light of the circumstance, Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would have wanted to help her more than her own sister, Lena? And as for Chief Gant, he would have also had a reason to help Lena if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lena Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. Oh, Angel Star did mention that making her chief of prosecutors would mean he can do anything he wants. He benefited off of that. Right. Now I remember. Okay, The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigation. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, Judge. Oh, Judge. Judge. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Yo. Admitted Chief. You assisted Lena Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I control Lena? For example, is Lena testifying that I've done such a thing? Lena. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Wordy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Bro, this man is openly threatening a prosecutor. How can you not suspect this dude? Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lena take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranked officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder, that's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief of high-ranking officer of the law is involved in his murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. Oh, I think I have something for him. Oh shit, whoops. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright got. And it better be good. Show us this evidence. Oh, let me save it. Just to be... Oh shit. Cause we just figured out 777, that number belongs to Gant. I think it's this. This is the ID card list? Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 77777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Ah, yeah. Order, order. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. It's getting juicy. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman would have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. This trial's purpose is to determine Lena Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during the meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Do I have something like that? Oh! I just remembered this. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost items report. He would have to have given that report to the chief of police. Yet, you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes. To transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Damon Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him. There's no other way There's no other way the murderer and the Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman? Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes, Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID earlier. If you had really lent it, if you really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Ooh, what the hell? Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lena at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lena stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. But all this time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. A useless clue taking up space? What? How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. What's the useless evidence? I mean, this parking stuff has been kind of useless. I can't even count. Wait. No way. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Mr. Edgeworth, oh, wow. The body was already in Edgeworth's car, and Edgeworth drove it to the prosecutor's. No way. Bro, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking nuts. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice. Miss Lena Sky. Order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It was a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. Huh? My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. Yo, this man just has no fucking care. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? The police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Wordy. I stabbed old Goodman? That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lena dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of the body? Shit. I don't really... Only thing I got... boy. I think only thing I really got is the screwdriver, which doesn't really help, and the ID card record. Oh boy. Fuck, I don't think I got it here. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Judge? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgy, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is a... Ooh. Wait, what? Lady Luck? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. You haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone writing this very wrong. You might be talking about Lena. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth.
Take that!
The defendant? Miss Lena Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15. Her task to dispose of the victim's body in accordance with a certain someone's order. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. This trial is mad long. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. Oh, jeez, another recess? God damn. The court is now... Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you'll never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. Have a good lunch date. I've got a lunch date to meet. This man is a fucking demon. Okay, if there aren't any objections, this court is now in recess. Homeboy is a fucking demon. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pal? Detective Gumshoe. Haha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. You mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How's he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not our right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risk? What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah. When I came to, I was in a medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything. That's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since our appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. You want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, you better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Oh man, this case is long. Oh boy. Okay, so this should be the final act. Um, Give me a second. I need to use the bathroom and get some water. All right, let's get into it. February 25th, 2:21 p.m. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lena Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lena Skies, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what was required of you. But Mr. Hedgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court your testimony, Miss Sky, and remember you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, truth. Lena, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dart convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana, if this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you gotta help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. Well, what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. I worked alongside Gant for years, right. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago by myself. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. You know. So that's why you fabricated evidence 2 years ago. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wounded up being killed by Dart? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distant away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim and you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulder. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I would have asked for the sake of others. Why did you move the body, I guess? Huh. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced. It was by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason this guy moved the body, the pieces of the jaw that shattered during the event threatened my plans. It threatened your plans? Wait, hold on. Something about that isn't right. Nah, hold up. Wasn't the jar already broken? Nah. Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the murder, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already, of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Doc was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during that struggle. I see. But that doesn't make sense to me though, because what's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that. Yeah, because I'm just saying to myself, that doesn't make sense because if it was broken beforehand, I mean, well, if it was broken during the struggle, then how did the blood spell Emma's name before it? That doesn't make sense. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. Contradiction in my testimony? You testify, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the event threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write this message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Yeah, okay, so yeah, because like that didn't make no sense the way she said it, because she said it was broken when she got there, but like who would like write a name on a broken jar? That didn't make no sense to me. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to this jar and this bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical. Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are. About the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Doc was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine this witness. So the jaw was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feasible, as feeble as the defense's case. Bro, you didn't have to throw those shots at me. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe? You didn't investigate what was written on the jar piece? Normally I would have. But I was in the dark room. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. The detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lena. I didn't know. I treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After all, we got to the bottom of this incident. After we got to the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in their testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradiction in her testimony. No, she didn't get... I think I just realized she didn't get all the pieces. Because one was locked up. Miss Guy, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, you were looking for Dark downstairs beside you. Oh shit. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Scott believed her sister Emma was the victim. Lana Scott believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determining to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Bro, stop freaking instigating. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? There's something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, Wright? So, you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, please testify once more. But, if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of the prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But, I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall, Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change the thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on a suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armored sword? You were the only one who saw that? If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? A picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. I don't remember receiving a picture like that, and it must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. What did she get? I think the only thing she gave me was the evidence book, right? Well then, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. I don't remember seeing any picture from Lana. Linda said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in someone. The only thing I got from her was this book. Oh. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted criminal affairs only after I rearranged everything. Yes, Mr. Wright. That piece cut from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? What's this? This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprint those are must be the real murderer. What? Those fingerprints. They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall. Huh. What the? Come now, Judgy. This is the poorest excuse of a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What? Now you want to make me out of the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeit your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that wrist sweep we're talking about earlier. Just sit back and relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your neck. Oh, shit. Ah, so what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing it. Ah, shit. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, and Miss Shed will be made out as a murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. Anything you will be the one appearing before the boards of inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present this piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? What happens if I say cannot show? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? You found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you'd had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister. So this motherfucker is really admitted that he did it. That when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plan the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lena arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lena to go and wipe the blood off the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ho 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 ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean this piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it, then, G-Man, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to. But it's not better than being portrayed as a murderer. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up, unless I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Okay. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then. Evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, your personal cut, the personnel cut out this piece of the victim's vest. You personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes. At last, you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, you're as slow as the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Rhino had all this time to present this evidence, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already knew? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. You should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Ah, boy. Emma? Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! The Sky. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence that my friend is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh? And what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Whoa, wait, what? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. It does? What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, could it possibly contradict? What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your terraconal reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. What contradicts this cloth? I'm not sure. Oh, you know what it is? Unregistered. This is technically illegal evidence. This is technically illegal evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. This is technically illegal evidence. Oh, it's fun watching you squirm, righto? This piece of evidence does indeed seem to contradict something. The outward appearance of mental sanity. Fuck. Oh, so that wasn't it. Damn. What am I doing? This cloth was cut from Prosecutor Marshall's vest after he died. There's something definitely not right about it. Too bad wait, is it because... I'm gonna put it into this, right? Behold the piece of evidence that contradicts this claw. Shit, what am I missing? Oh boy. Is it this picture? What? Oh, maybe it's a piece of cloth. Oh fuck. Okay, let me save, cause I'm gonna get myself fucked up here. Maybe it might be the picture, I'm not too sure. And what exactly is this supposed to be? Oh, it was the picture. What's with the picture? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of this vest was cut off? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out all the blood on this vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs do no doubt were punctured, blood pouring out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. It was fabricated. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutors aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. What? No, that's nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lena Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on an armored sword? Bro, but why would he do that? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jaw with the victim's blood, a jaw that then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lena believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Though the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over. Objection. Oh, he nervous, huh? That was close, Ryder. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegation. What do you mean you refute his allegation? You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence. So he's telling on himself. Order, what nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Judge, earlier old Rattle here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rhino? You do have some conclusive evidence, do you? Don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Phoenix basically trapped this nigga. Crazy. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, the piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best meet in court? It looks like the last laugh on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? Did you purposely and illegally conceal this piece of cloth? I did not. I admit I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There's a certain procedure involved when presenting evidence. No, Judge, you don't listen to his lie. He's nothing but a coward. You can't believe him. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, so this is why this comes into play for a reason. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value, who gave it value as evidence, was you, Damon Gale. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes. They made him tell on himself. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gale. The killer was you. Huh? Yeah, I'm winning, Roger. Yeah, what a breakdown. My man just started clapping like a madman. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insists on hounding me? Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman, Detective Goodman. Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. So Jake was pretty much onto him. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost sighting report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about? Goodman, can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker and he was taking the evidence out. He said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would only lead to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worried so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The blood handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. Everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more money than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she has as much to lose as I did for the truth coming out, if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crime than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. He must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it is. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Judgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator, an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here. And Wordy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. Yo, this is a crazy ass case. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant portrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your troubles. My what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Maya thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Aww. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. You know, I'm happy for real. Well, this trial has gone far too long already. Regarding the charge of the murder, this court finds the defendant is Lena Skies. That's what I like to see, baby. Oh boy. You love to see it. That is all. This court is adjourned. District Court. At long last, it's finally over. Emma. Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after that trial ended, I can see why Maya Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lena didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pal. Again? Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? To top it off, you called me here. I've seen happen. Yo, deja vu. Hey, lighten up, pal. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of... Oh, shit. I skipped that by accident. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lena. Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping me from getting wrapped up in this mess. Sis, I asked Grant to help me cover up the truth. I asked Gant. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realized I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you would look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing this for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day, and hiding what I believed to be true, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. So they reconciled. Oh, that's good. I'm happy for them. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is try to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find a way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. And all right, Edgeworth, stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth, not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to do it alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my life to fighting them. But in order to fight on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrified me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor Manfred von Harmer were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Yo, this nigga Phoenix, bro. Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lane is talking about. Evidence, huh? What evidence do I got, bro? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. The hell? I don't know. I'm not even sure. What is it? Is it the evidence list? Oh yeah, well I guess so, yeah. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Now, this man is such a baby. Mr. Edgeworth, if you excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems all you might thinks too. Right. But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I had better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. And so another case came to a close, and for the sisters, I had faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What, it's the detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see. Mr. Wright here is the one who be footing the bill. What? Huh? Huh? What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it suddenly feel like I want to scream? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. That was good as shit. That was good as hell. That was a banger case. Okay, while this is going on, I need to get my clothes ready. I do gotta work tonight, unfortunately. So yeah, BRB. So with that said, I'm gonna probably let this play out. I hope people enjoyed watching. I had fun with the game. It was kind of about time I finished it. I was just procrastinating too much. But yeah, I got around to finishing it, and it made me realize how much I enjoyed playing this game. So hopefully I can get to doing Justice for All. But if I don't do Justice for All, I might be streaming a pretty classic PS2 game that I just realized was on the PlayStation Store, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta play this game. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm gonna let this play out, like I said, and I'm gonna catch y'all on my next stream. So, peace out. Gotta go get ready. Thanks for watching.